New business, is Fabregas returning to the Gunners? In Headliners, we discuss the ins and outs at Old Trafford. And in Added Time, I put your questions to our panel. Joining me today are former Manchester United defender David May and international football writer Peter Staunton. I'm Matt Lorenzo and this is Transfer Talk. Time then to have a look at the new business. And Peter, it wasn't so long ago that we were wondering whether Cesc Fabregas will or won't go to Barcelona, and now will he or won't come back?
Now Arsenal do have that buyback option in his contract. It's a fee for around 25 million, and the indications have been that Wenger and Fabregas have been in pretty good contact over the course of this summer. But the indications are also that Fabregas would like to maybe try and prove himself at Barcelona rather than coming back with his tail between his legs, as it were.
I think, truthfully, I mean, to go back after having so many years at Arsenal, I think it might be the wrong move. But if he's not going to get in the Barcelona team with the likes of Xavi, Iniesta, you know, where else would he go? It's a big ask for him to come back to Arsenal, probably with his, like you said, with his tail between his legs.
Well, moving quickly to Spurs, they're about to spend millions on a couple of recruits from the Dinamo Zagreb kindergarten.
Yeah, Tin Jedvaj and Alen Halilovic, two hugely promising 17-year-olds from Dinamo Zagreb. Now, this is a club who has basically built its structure on selling its most promising talents. You know, people like Vedran Čeluka, Luka Modric, who've all departed in recent years. But they've never sold players at this age before. Now, the deal is for around £15 million for the two. Halilovic is a centre midfielder and Jedvaj is a central defender. And any deal for the two would include probably a loan-back clause for next season. So for a team like Spurs, you know, who are always on the lookout for promising talent, but if they're going to spend that much money, are they really going to have the patience to allow them develop at another club after paying such a fee?
It is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, when you think of, you know, 15 million, what it can actually get you in the bigger picture. You know, you've seen at United where the youth team players coming through, you know, they're not afraid to ship them out on loan so they can get the experience playing first team football. And I think it's good business if they can, you know, hand them back to Zagreb, get you know, maybe another 50, 60 games under the belt, and then bring them to the Premiership, ready for the challenge ahead. To be what, 18, 19-year-old would be perfect for them.
Quickly to Negredo, apparently is exciting some interest from Manchester City. Yeah,
earlier on in the summer, Spurs apparently were looking at him. But obviously they've put all their eggs in the David Villa basket, so there's going to be no move from Spurs for Negredo. But because of the smoothness in the negotiations between City and Sevilla for Jesus Navas, it's brought City on the Negredo radar. Sevilla like the way City do business, the ease of the negotiations, and City think they can do a deal for under the player's buyout clause. They reckon they can do a deal for around £15 million. So if they do miss out on their top targets, Edinson Cavani obviously has been one that's been mentioned with City a lot this summer. So if they do miss out on their top targets, then maybe a good fallback option for the season ahead could be Negredo.
I think City need to bring somebody in and pretty soon, because, you know, living in Manchester, you get to know the feelings about the City fans, and they're desperate to get another centre forward in to help obviously Aguero out if Dzeko does leave.
So now we look at our headliners, the big transfer deals that have been bubbling away all summer long. What summer? Anyway, there have been plenty of bubbling going on at Old Trafford.
There has. Obviously, David Moyes coming to be the new manager, but been in the job a couple of days. And his first saga is really going to be about the Wayne Rooney, everything that's following Wayne. Whether he's going to stay at United, whether he's going to go to Chelsea, Bayern, PSG. He's only got a few days to sort it out because they'll be heading to Asia on the pre-season tour. He, or the club at least, have been splashing it out salary-wise.
Yeah, David De Gea looks like he's going to be rewarded for his good form last season in the Championship campaign with a new contract, and he could also yet be joined by somebody else on big money. That's Thiago Alcantara, the Barcelona midfield player, who's found it tough to get into the team with Xavi and Iniesta ahead of him, and didn't meet his stipulated minutes in his contract last season, and his buyout clause has plummeted all the way down to 18 million. So United's still in for Thiago. This time last week it looked like that he was going to stay with Barcelona, but the indications now are that United are going to offer about 6.2 million a year in the next couple of days, and could see a resolution to that transfer saga?
I think it's absolutely perfect. United over the last 2 or 3 years have been dying for a player to come in of his quality. You know, that attacking midfielder that can get goals, open defences, and I think it'd be the absolute perfect replacement for Paul Scholes.
At long last, Arsenal fans have real expectation that their manager may actually spend some of the money available to him. Higuain, apparently, in his sights. But
one striker who would get the Arsenal fans out of their seats at the Emirates and would almost throw back to those days when Arsenal were signing the best players around is Gonzalo Higuain. He's represented by family member Nicholas, and although Napoli are interested and Juventus have been interested, he's suggested that a deal for Gonzalo Higuain to go to Arsenal is very, very close. So they could have that replacement for Robin van Persie belatedly, but finally.
And for Arsenal to go out and spend, break the records, to go and bring in somebody like Higuain, it says a lot. You know, reported to be what, 120, 130,000 pound a week. If you look at the goal scoring last year, I think Theo Walcott was the leading goal scorer in the Premier League for Arsenal with 12 goals.
Tell us more, staying with Arsenal, about this little love triangle between Arsenal, Julio Cesar and Roma.
It's a strange one at the moment. Obviously, Julio Cesar has been away with Brazil winning the Confederations Cup. And he has mentioned to the Brazilian press in various dispatches how happy he's been in London and how he'd like to continue living here. Obviously, he played last season with QPR, although they were relegated. And Arsenal have been linked, very closely linked with Julio Cesar. There was some wrangling with QPR over the payment of a transfer fee. Arsenal didn't really want to pay that. They thought it would have been just a good deal for QPR to take Julio Cesar off the wage books. But Roma also are interested. Roma's transfer policy in Italy is notoriously scattergun, and Julio Cesar just seems to be one goalkeeping iron that they have in the fire at the moment. But by the time the new season rolls around, I would expect Wojciech Szczesny to have a bit of competition for his #1 slot at Arsenal from Julio Cesar.
The money's rolling at Spurs. I wonder if they're selling one of their big players. I can't really speculate on that. But Paulinho and Villa apparently both on their way to White Hart Lane.
That's right. He had his farewell press conference with Corinthians earlier on this week after he won the Confederations Cup, just to say how much the club will always be in his heart and he'll always support them and he'll be back someday. But, you know, he's ready to take that step to Europe. He did have a step to Europe when he was a younger player, 17, 18 years of age. But now he seems finally matured, ready after winning the Confederations Cup and the World Club Cup. It's time for him to move on, and he can really bring some dynamism to that Spurs midfield. David Villa is the type of player the Spurs have been crying out for over the past couple of seasons.
For me, it's what Spurs are doing. They're buying a proven goal scorer. Spain's leading goal scorer, done it week in, week out at Barcelona, and there's no reason why he can't do it at Spurs. I think it's important now that Spurs can keep Gareth Bale. If they do that, then you've got the perfect person who's going to fire the ammunition across for him to put the ball in the back of the net.
So, gentlemen, we're now in added time where I put some of our viewers' questions to you. First up, Ishmael on Facebook asks, well, Dante, Thiago Silva and David Luiz, I want them at Barca next season. Of the three, who would you want?
He wants, but he can't have all three, that's for sure. For me, if I was Tito Villanova, I'd be looking at Thiago Silva. I think he would fit the dynamic of the Barcelona player perfectly, but he would also improve the backline.
David, one for you. Basim Khan on YouTube. Will Cristiano Ronaldo come back to Manchester United?
I sincerely hope he comes back. It's a massive coup if United can get Ronaldo back to Old Trafford. I would say possibly no.
Finally, a tweet from Joe Maynard01. Any news on Lewandowski to City?
The only news for Lewandowski in the last few days has been the fact that he got married. So that's why the transfer trail has gone a little cold on Lewandowski. From the City perspective, he was second choice behind Edinson Cavani if they missed out, but we do know now the City are also looking at Negredo from Sevilla, so I think this one is done and dusted. I don't think Lewandowski will be going to City.
Well, that's it for today. If you like our video, press the subscribe button and ask us a question on either YouTube, Facebook or Twitter. And if you want to know more about any of the stories discussed today, then head on over to Goal.